Both teams having the toughest team talk yet. Just one map now determines the fate of two teams here in our final day of the Challenger stage. 3 spots, 6 teams. NiP and ViCi now clash on Mirage. But first, we have to reflect on Inferno. ViCi managed to take us all 3. Our analysts weren't certain it was going to happen. And now, to explain themselves, Pimp and Sean Gers. Starting with you on the end there, Sean. I mean, This was what we hoped for. I mean, the fact that there is resistance being put up. But is this ViCi playing well, or have the Ninjas lost their flair?
I think it's more a little bit of both. ViCi obviously got lucky by winning both pistols and first gun rounds. They needed that in that first half, right? That 5-0 start. Without that, I mean, NiP, I think, rattled off 8 straight gun rounds, actually, right there. So 8 straight gun rounds. If they would have won that first gun round, which they actually had the opening pick in, that match could have gone very differently.
ViCi getting 7 rounds, T-side Inferno. Big part of it was that strong start you asked for in the pre-match, Sean. Jacob.
Definitely, and they were able to put pressure on NiP. And as Sean said as well, despite NiP coming out and once again having a clear game plan of what they wanted to do in the CT side, ViCi was able to move around that and actually secure some rounds. Again, NiP, I don't feel they played bad at all during that start. It was just ViCi playing some of the solid Counter-Strike we've seen them play so far in the tournament.
Yeah, I have to once again. I feel like it's going to become a bit of a repetition here, but Kaze's impressing me. Some of the things he was getting away with on that AWP. In fact, at one point, I heard someone shout, "Where was this on train?" You asked for it, you didn't get it, Sean.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't see more of what we just saw in Inferno on train because he was unstoppable. At the Arch side, he was playing super aggressively, peeking into middle. We saw him from that new box position at B, holding the spawn split. Yeah. He was all over the place, hitting whip shots and banana. I don't know what this guy wasn't doing because he was doing everything for them.
And something that we were seeing as well, something you're going to be illustrating for us, you told me that there was a bit of a taste of their own medicine, ViCi felt.
Taste of their own medicine, because Sean brought it up in the pregame, and I'm glad he did, the banana control. We always talk about it when it's Inferno. So here's a showcase of how NiP took the banana control early in the game. Now, you have the minimap loaded up on your screens right now. What you're going to see transpire in a second when I play the clip is this semi-aggressive smoke you were talking about down to the barrel. So if we play out the clip, you can see NiP going 3-man towards the B bomb site, making that semi-aggressive smoke. And what it looks like, if you take an overview here, is that semi-aggressive smoke right here on your screen now. As soon as that disappears, a deep smoke comes down from NiP. They're going to catch Advent, who's sort of caught in the middle. He's trying to take banana control. He's trying to fight it, but he get caught off guard. NiP get up to a 5 versus 4 lead, have banana control, and at that point, the chances of winning the round is just maximized so much, and that's why I also gave kudos to ViCi, because despite the start of the round, despite NiP doing everything right in the beginning, they still managed to lose that round. They still not managed to take advantage of all the favorable situations they put themselves in.
I've seen a lot more, and correct me if you haven't noticed the same, I've seen a lot more CTs jumping for info over that half wall because of that deep smoke. They just jump, and then they can go wide if they need to.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you mentioned that because there's very specifics to jump spotting that wall. You want to go right to left instead of left to right, just the way that you're kind of traveling.
Okay.
Because the wall would protect you as opposed to the other side it wouldn't. And yeah, a lot of these pros have really mastered the art of jump spotting over that wall to make it very difficult to get one shot. But yeah, like Jacob said, you know, NiP did have the advantage of this round. When ViCi actually hit the B site, I actually thought NiP was set up pretty well. But unfortunately for them, ViCi didn't smoke spawn and NiP were playing double site. So it's like ViCi couldn't have gotten any luckier with how they entered that B site.
It's interesting stuff. I mean, Lekro did have a real hero round at times as well, desperately trying to get NiP across that line. But as we take a look at the highlights, you'll notice just how effective ViCi Gaming can be with this CT side. They managed to go ahead and close that one out, and we have ourselves a 3rd map. While the highlights do roll, I do want to make sure we have ample time to talk about Mirage. Any closing thoughts, though, on that Inferno before we venture into our 3rd and final map?
You see on the highlights transpiring on the screen right now, KC playing so well with the AVP. It almost reminds me of Fallen sometimes, the fact that he's always able to make something out of himself in a close quarter combat. Whenever somebody's close approaching him, he's always able to hit the shot, do some flaky stuff. He has a decent movement as well. He seems like a very viable AWP in those close corner situations. So we have talked about Inferno not being the best map for the AWPers. When you have a guy like that who's comfortable in those positions, it quickly becomes a very big strength for them.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway from this map is NiP needs more people other than Force to step up. Rez had a couple rounds here and there. We saw Get Right come up big. Lekro, that one clutch he had. Dennis is kind of missing right now, if I'm being honest, in this series. So I think they need Dennis to step up. Right now in ViCi, pretty much everyone is doing a phenomenal job. Alman had a good first map. Freeman, Kaze, Zoking. I've seen so many clips out of these players, particularly on Inferno, that NiP needs to combat that firepower.
Yeah, and these are your stats for the series so far. Do take note, Alman's actually the leader across both maps, and that's testament to how much of a fantastic elimination game he is having. Of course, a promotion game as well. Decider matches going down all day today. At the bottom of the scoreboard for ViCi, Advent, he has been plagued by this throughout his time here in Katowice. It doesn't seem like the man can frag and lead at the same time so far.
It's a new level for him, right? We talked about in the pregame as well, him coming out saying he learns every single time he calls against European teams. It's still very new for him. So be able to call for ViCi right now and still delivering the same amount of frags he did in the minor, that's a tough task and that's a lot to ask for. I don't necessarily see him miss out too many shots. I don't think he's a very,
he's not scuffing around.
He's not scuffing around. It's not like he's a liability for them by any means. Whereas for NiP, you have a guy like Dennis who's supposed to be the star player of this team. He was brought in to be this new researching player for them. He came from Astralis when he was standing in for them, having some of the best Counter-Strike ever played from his side. Now, it's been a while since we've seen him being the old Dennis. So that is, as you said, a testament to the problems right now. Lack of firepower, lack of those individual players stepping up. That's a problem for NiP, especially on a map like Mirage.
And that is it. Mirage coming up. Sean, who's taking this one? Who is going to the Legends stage between ViCi and NiP?
The Chinese teams are so good on Mirage, so it's hard to pick against them. But I was impressed with NiP on Mirage so far against Furia and Renegades. Even though they lost that Renegades match, I thought they played pretty well. So I'm going to go NiP.
One for NiP. Certainly a lot of Pick'ems players at home thinking it. What about you, Jacob?
For my pick'ems, I would love to say NiP, but I think this one is going to be super close. I honestly can't tell you which team is going to win, because I think it's going to be a very aggressive match. It's going to be a fight for mid control. It's going to be messy in the beginning. It's going to be fun, and there's going to be a lot of tension. This is the map that's going to decide whoever goes to the next stage.
This is it. NiP have had their major dreams crushed in the past. These players, they wear their heart on their sleeve, at least the majority of them. And for ViCi, can they continue to follow in the footsteps of Tyloo? Tyloo, of course, through to the Legends in London. Now ViCi looking to represent their nation as they start to move closer and closer. One map away. Ninjas in Pajamas, ViCi Gaming with Moses and Vince.
Well, Pimp tiptoed around not giving us a prediction. But these two teams, there's no tiptoeing out of this one. They must win this. Each of them, all their dreams at IEM Katowice on the line here. Final map of the series. ViCi has been impressive. It's hard to go against the Legends in this final map. Forrest and GetRight playing so well on Inferno in a losing effort. And yeah, Machine said it right. They've been crushed in the past. I think this one would hurt even more.
Because they were so very close to making that comeback on the previous map, and now it's all down to this. Effectively a best of one. Two smokes with NiP posturing just outside of A. The bomb is under control from GetRight, who's one of those potential ramp players. Two coming through underpass. Alman's seen them both. He's going to pull back. Information gathered. At this stage, they know they can pretty much just stack A. You don't have to make any moves. The smokes, there's a slight gap in them, I believe. And it's going to allow Kaze and the rest of ViCi to start to claim some heads. It's going to be Advent that goes in first, claiming first blood in this all-important map, looking for seconds, and it's going to be Alman that takes it away from him. GetRight and Lekro both charging straight in with kills of their own. It's a complete chaos nightmare right now for ViCi. They're losing players left and right. Lekro's going to go down to the hands of Freeman, leaving GetRight once again in a 1v2 clutch. He's taken one of them down, but only has 8 HP to play with. The time is on his side for now, but he's going to go for that bomb plant, going to force it down. Put Freeman into a position where he needs to push him. Will the 8 HP be enough? Yes, it will! GetRight drills the head off of Freeman and clutches around. You can see what it means to him.
A smile on his face. That is a disgusting pistol round from GetRight. That is unreal. Low HP, immediate headshot. I do not know how NiP won that. I'm not going to lie. That was a beautifully called round for ViCi. It was stacked. They had 5 players there so quick. What a grinded out battle this was for NiP. And for GetRight to land this shot. Freeman can't even react in time. What a way to start map 3.
GetRight turning back the years with this performance. He was great in the last map as well, even though NiP lost it. And now full USPs for ViCi. Have to somehow reel back from that brutal loss.
At the same time, it's got to be like, for ViCi to know exactly what's coming. I don't know if NiP necessarily thinks it right now. Kaze gets 2. He continues his tear from Inferno, not able to salvage any weapons. Forest not going to let him continue the battle. But to have read that pistol round so well, it almost makes me think, like, what else do they have in store for us moving forward into this half? Because ViCi, if they're going to anti-strat NiP, or if they have a good read on him in that situation, who knows when the gun rounds come out. Kaze was a monster with the AWP on Inferno. He's got it in his hands now, no armor. But NiP surely knows that he is going to be world-class in this series. They've got to be careful.
ViCi have continued to surprise, continued to impress over the duration of this tournament thus far. Yes, a bit of a heartbreak to start things off, but now they have weapons. Can they counteract? Can they eradicate this push? Derail the juggernaut that is Ninjas in Pajamas. They haven't been able to stop the initial charge at the very least. They're going to have to regather and recuperate and try and retake, claim what was once theirs, because the bomb has now been planted.
And this is going to be so hard. They've got decent utility. They have no kits, though. This has to speed up. They need to wait for these smokes to clear. There's a chance here. 3 players coming from CT spawn. Dennis does massive damage onto Advent. Now he hides. Now he goes for another fight, but they've swung out wide. Still Forest. Get Right has delivered already. Can Forest do it as well? No, he looks away. He had the right read. Get Right, surely not one more. Kaze with the op is going to finish him off. No chance. Great retake. Excuse me, they did have 1 kit on Almond.
But shows how thinly spread their economy actually was on that retake. But they still get it done. The way Get Right's playing, you almost believe he's going to pull off that 1v3 clutch with the UMP, but of course it was always a mountainous task to ask from him. Was King doing work on the retake, as you can see, and ViCi, they have broken NiP back once again, and you can see the effect. It's pistols.
They could have forced a buy here if they had wanted to, but they have just too many players that are a little bit low that were right on the edge, so go for a conservative call early on in this half. And let's be honest, we've seen NiP win plenty of these. We almost saw them steal one away on Inferno against ViCi. Dennis, not expecting 1 player there. Immediate rotation, though. They're pulling out of the B bomb site. They just now stop, but it's actually only Freeman here for the moment. He has no idea. He's getting wrapped. This is a disaster for ViCi. NiP might have just done it again. I don't know how you get back into this. They're going to have a very tough battle.
Power of the pistols, and there's so much smoke around. This is going to allow NiP, the ninjas, to hide and wait. And strike Get Right Shao, looking for a spray. Not too far off, although he's been tagged heavily. I think at this stage, ViCi pull the plug. They tap out of the round. They know they can't afford to lose these weapons.
Yeah, they need to back away quickly. ViCi bite. That's not even a fake. That is just the smallest of presence by Dennis over at the A bomb site. But look at this, NiP with a half buy. They don't care about their money. They want to take the guns away. They've got the op on the ground. Lekro can pick that up. And he's not able to get the ensuing frag, but he's going to be joined up with Rez. Into the bomb site we go, and a headshot onto Zoking. NiP have picked up the pace here. A 3-1 lead as they respond immediately.
Almost the worst case scenario too. ViCi get a win, reset themselves, then instantly lose. $1,400 for Zoking. Not much better for Aumann. On a tightrope financially, and they need to see them somehow balance it out.
That's the kind of composure and experience that makes people lean with NiP in a 3rd map series of an elimination game at the Major. Dennis just walks up A ramp, takes 1 shot. The window player leans towards A. The B rotator evacuates the B bomb site, leaving Freeman high and dry all on his own. You cannot get pulled out by just 1 player, especially if he hasn't even gotten a kill.
Just being very careful. Clearing out all the angles with Molotovs at this stage. Systematically moving step by step forward onto the site, making sure it's a safe endeavor. And so far, so good for the Swedes. They have taken some damage, though, in mid. Dennis is down to 31. And his life is forfeit. That's an extra weapon that now goes across to ViCi. And they're doing some real damage here. This is getting scary now for NiP.
There's still plenty of time in this bomb timer if they want to try and go for it, at least see if they can grab another kill. But on the other hand, this is going to prevent them from saving any money if they can't win this out. Only 2 defenders here. This is a long flank from Lekro. NiP need to hold on as long as humanly possible. Force able to pick one off from a ramp. Rez responds, and there it is. Everything that ViCi gained in this round is taken back by NiP. Forrest, 3 kills in the round. And a big, big lead. Now ViCi have a decision to make. Their economy is not strong. They're also right on the edge. But they don't want to risk so much so early. Gonna go for pistols.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. This is still early days. You don't want to completely wreck yourself, getting carried away.
And especially when you look back to Mirage, how important Kaze was with that AWP. If you're ViCi, #1 goal on this defensive side is to get an AWP in his hands.
ViCi have lost the first player, Omen the first casualty. Aggressive positions that you'd expect when you have the likes of 5.7s and P250s around.
They have smokes as well. Zoking just wants to get the information and drop the smoke. He just doesn't want to use it before needed. Molotov going to keep NiP. They can't attack through it, so he's just going to wait till that fades.
Raz running some interference over on the B side, but ViCi aren't biting on this. They're going to keep 2 players on A, one of which is Zoking, as we saw before.
This smoke could actually make things tricky for NiP. I imagine with a minute left in the clock, when Zoking drops this, they'll just wait behind it. Might allow a player to cheat over. It's actually pretty dangerous for them to go through this.
They're blocking each other, but there's a flashbang there. I'm not sure if GetRight realized it, but of course he did.
Likely just looking at the radar and realize he's not actually progressing anywhere and just takes the shot. Realizes he's blocked by a player. Freeman as well with the deagle, gets 1 headshot, almost gets a second one. These are great damage on a Dennis who cannot land with that AK-47. And a 2-on-3, but ViCi's nearby. There's a possibility for them.
It certainly is, and now Dennis does need to be a little bit more careful. He's still peeking. That's going to be the kill going the way of Dennis. And now Freeman, 1 HP Dream. This could be the play of his life if he pulls this one off. There's such an integral part of this best of 3. Elimination on the line, and intelligently NiP double peek him. So 5-1 the score, but again, ViCi, even in rounds where you feel like they have no right to get close, they're taking 2-3 players down.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad round from them whatsoever. Puts GetRight at 850 and Dennis at 350. Plenty of money on Forrest, Rez, and Lekro. Now we get back to the buys. Kaze has his AWP, no utility. There's 1 kit on Freeman. Plenty of nades surrounding the AWP. But ViCi need to get started. This hap can slip away very, very fast.
This is what they've been waiting for the last couple of rounds. Kaze with an AWP. What kind of impact can he have? He's currently in window as you'd expect. NiP haven't really thrown any smokes out towards mid to try and take control. If they do dry peek this, Kaze could be in the thick of it. And the way he's been playing, he probably won't miss. Peeks out before, and that's the freest of kills for Kaze. It's going to be followed up with a frag onto Forrest, and for me, that's a head scratcher.
Oh, yeah. I'm very confused. GetRight now trying to provide an entry up the A ramp, and he realizes 1 player at ticket booth, it's a retake strategy. He can gain a little bit more ground. Takes a big risk in a round where if they don't take any, they won't win. Question becomes, what can he provide his team? Hiding at the moment in Cubby. Looks like they're just going to rotate around towards A. They really are liking the space that ViCi is giving them. But this is a long time for GetRight to be on his own, worrying about multiple angles. Smoke towards CT spawn, GetRight. There's an AWP holding this angle. He's got to be careful. Kaze's blind. A nice flashbang gets the entry over towards stairs and the follow-up. GetRight delivering here in map 3. Over the top, though. So many bodies, so many angles to worry about. He just couldn't do it. Dennis is dinked. Not able to get anything done. Second round for ViCi, and they even pick up the AWP right at the end.
This is an old school GetRight performance, though, so far, Moses. I am excited to see this guy right now. Forrest playing well, but Lekro really has been the main support. Driving force alongside GetRight. Only 4 ADR behind him at 107 with 7 kills. But here is the play that was a bit of a disaster, all things considered. Started things off horribly for NiP, and they never recovered.
Yeah, that was weird. No smoke in window, no flashbang to even give Lekro a half second to even try and take a duel. Maybe they just maybe they didn't think that ViCi would have an AWP out. This will be a crunch on that A bomb site eventually. A little bit more slow paced as two players, that's Rez and Dennis, making their way towards connector. Maybe trying to throw a distraction to get him up on the boost. Get right running through flames, gets dropped by the AWP. And Alman has been pulled far enough away from window for a boost to work, and even so, Zoking's in connector to shut it down before it even begins.
Excellent call for Kaze to go into A this time rather than window. He's in perfect position to lock down ramp. And that strat was pretty much identical to the pistol round. Now 2 players underpass, rest just chilling outside of ramp waiting for the smokes. So ViCi had been there and seen it before. And they will be rewarded more than likely with a 3rd round. The good news for NiP is they still have 2 healthy players in control of the bomb. The bad news is we're against 4 players. However, it is just Freeman by himself on B.
I was going to say, this is the only call you can really make if you want to have success. They're speeding things up, so Freeman will call the Opper over, or excuse me, he'll call Alman over. They need to get this kill, and they do very quickly. Alman can't take a wide angle. A real chance here. No nades for NiP in this post plant. There's a smoke and a flashbang for ViCi. And 1 player coming up catwalk. That's a big adjustment of the recoil. Lekro all alone, and he's dedicated to this bomb site. Big kill, big headshot, but not the follow-up.
Still good damage considering it was a 2-on-4 bomb plant and 2 extra kills. Going to hurt the economy of ViCi. Going to keep them honest, but NiP are in a position where things are a little bit tenuous. Lekro's going to have a bunch of fun, $7,000, but then you look at Get Right, 3.4K, Dennis, 3,000. Have a decision to make of their own.
I wouldn't mind them buying here after those 3 kills. You can get some rifles out. Lekro could even drop a Galil. And yeah, they are going to go. Forrest picks up the AK-47, so another gun round for us. NiP trying to throw what kind of a fake they could just to give an opening for a boost in towards window, take the attention away from mid. It just doesn't pan out that way. The AWP from Kaze shuts it down. And you're exactly right. It's good mobility with the AWP, a bunch of different looks that ViCi have thrown at NiP. Oh, this is an aggressive play. Rez starting to see this more and more from teams. Great nade. That seems to be the counter. Oh, he's able to find one. The player on bench isn't even looking. Freeman a little bit blind, and he's dropped without even firing a shot. And ViCi backing off already.
Clean, crisp take onto the B side. As you say, ViCi want no part of this, so they are going to be 6-3 behind on their CT side overall. Yes, they mounted a mini comeback, but this is still looking pretty rough.
They did this on Inferno down the stretch, though, and you have to appreciate it. Calling for saves early enough to where they can actually fight in the next round. They have 3 weapons they'll bring forward. Remember on Inferno when NiP was making that comeback happen. In a round loss, ViCi was able to save 3 weapons as well and close it out in the next round. So, well done from these guys.
NiP are going to be content to just hold on to their guns as well. So we're going to have somewhat of a repeat in the next round. With 3 save weapons, there will be some drops. So much on the line.
Exactly, but if you're up 6-3 on your T side 9 rounds in, that takes a lot of the weight off your shoulders. You feel much, much better about how this map is moving forward and how it's progressing. And NiP have a chance here to deliver a pretty harsh knockout punch. 1 reset of the economy in the rest of this half for ViCi. 6 rounds left to be played. And they'll be hurting. NiP would likely grab an advantage going into halftime.
At the same time, though, NiP may need to make sure they don't become complacent because ViCi, have already shown how tenacious these guys are. They'll never give up.
They're doing the same strategy, just a little bit more quiet this time. Alman's blind. There is 1 player over by the bench as well, along the wall. Decent crossfire. Alman gives up his position. That's a big kill, a big follow-up from Freeman as well. Can they hold on even longer?
Molotov's going to draw Freeman out into the open, though, and Lekro will make the most of that. Dennis catches Zoking. Just trying his best to flank. Kaze's still alive with his AWP alongside Advent. Kaze can hear the footsteps in B-Apps. Could he possibly get this pick onto Dennis? If he peers around this corner, he should have it for free. Able to perforate Dennis into an early grave, but the damage has already been inflicted, with it only being Kaze in a post plant. It's going to be another save and another round to the sweets.
It's actually kind of good that that hit wasn't as convincing as the previous for NiP, because they actually got to lure, I believe that was Advent right at the end, or Advent or Almond.
It's Advent, yeah.
And into sticking around and trying to go for the retake while Kaze had the possibility of a flank, so they get to take way more weapons away. And now, this is what I was mentioning, ViCi truly in some trouble now. 2,000 on Almond, 2,300 on Advent, 2,600 on Freeman. And yeah, the AWP is nice. He can drop a FAMAS over if they want to force up here, but that's pretty much risking the entire half on this next buy. They've got timeouts they can use, ViCi. Still 4. This is a great rebuttal from Forrest and Lekro. Even though 2 players had gone down, they knew the positioning of the 2 initial defenders at the B bomb site.
No further investment apart from Zoking with a P250 armor. This is beginning to spiral out of control. The Ninjas win this round. Whatever happens, they will be leading at halftime. It's just a case of how many rounds can they add to it. But they have to respect Kaze's AWP. Time and time again, he was the beacon of hope for ViCi on Inferno. Here come the nades, and NiP will push behind it. Get right. Acting as somewhat of an entry fragger at this stage, is landing heads left and right. Going to pick up another one partially through the wooden floorboards. And this round is pretty much over at this stage. Lekro is just spraying through the smoke and connects onto Kaze.
They mentioned it on the desk. Good performances from Forrest and Get Right in the series leading into this map, but we were going to need to see Lekro step up to the plate, and he has. 13 and 4 for him, 114 ADR. Get Right at 11 and 7. Freeman for ViCi is leading the way at 10 and 10.
One of the last opportunities on this half potentially for ViCi to muster up a buy of this magnitude, but can they make it work? Spam through the smoke from Kaze. Yields the kill onto Rez, gonna alleviate some of the pressure that was in mid. But Dennis is still there alongside Lekro. And if Kaze's not careful, he will have his head taken off. They are going to maintain the player advantage. This is one of the better opportunities that ViCi have had.
3 players in mid as well. They should be able to handle this, and Kaze's looking right for the boost. Smoke is going to obscure his vision, though. How does Lekko want to approach gaining that map control? Molotov forces the cat player away. That's Almond. He'll only be held off briefly as Dennis makes his way into connector. And Lekro biding his time. A big rotation, though, as a player flanking underpass. Lekro drops down, has no idea. Now NiP realize the danger they're in. They realize that ViCi has all the information needed to win this round, but the Zoking gets baited into an awkward fight. Dennis now going to control jungle and window room.
Needs to make sure he doesn't get taken down by Kaze first. He's going to get the frag through the wall onto Get Right. Trying to escape from the site, and down goes Dennis. And with him, ViCi will pluck out a 4th round.
Just barely, though. It's nice to have that round, still on the ropes, economically speaking, and NiP have guaranteed a lead going into the second half.
They've been losing post plants. Name a more iconic duo. They've been pretty good at that today, holding on to the post plants, I'd say.
I was going to say, Get Right has something to say about that.
I feel like most of the clutches have gone their way today. I'd be interested on the percentages.
There's been some nice retakes from ViCi across these 3 maps. Here we go, Molotov on a ramp, making sure that nothing fast can happen from the Ninjas. K's at distance, 1 on top of the balcony, and remember, Get Right made the assumption that he would be the only one at ticket booth. Rez needs to find this kill, and he's gonna get it through the boards. Kaze is down as well, and oh my god, Zoking had the lineup, but he was so blind, and Get Right, acrobatic, but no one covering the planter. Dennis goes down immediately after.
Rez carefully decides better of pushing that smoke. It could have put NiP into a 2-on-2 needlessly. Gonna make sure he doesn't make any careless plays. The smoke acting like a wall right now, gonna be a Molotov right behind it. And this is wasting so much time.
The bomb isn't planted for anyone on NiP. They have to be careful about this. There's a chance for ViCi, and Lekro is going to shut it down. If they'd been able to cross over to the bomb, a player in window room, a player in connector, and a player on A ramp, they would have been really tough to stop that. I don't know if there was a kid on the other player that died first. There wasn't a lot of money for ViCi, and they'll reset again.
Alman narrowly escaping death. He will be able to hold on to the AUG. An important takeout of the round for ViCi. They're going to have at least something to play with.
I don't think there's any more silver linings for ViCi. Down 4-9, you have no money. Even though you have one AUG to fight with, that doesn't feel good in any way. And if you're ViCi, you're facing the fact that 5 might be the best you can get in this first half.
Yeah, pretty dark cloud looming over the head of ViCi in their hopes to move through to the group stage of the major. A lot brighter for NiP. Dennis, free kill onto Kaze. Will be lining up the grenade to see what he can do onto triple box. Meanwhile, they're going to force their way through mid, but it's into the wall of Lekro. And he repels everybody.
That AWP, due to the money issues of ViCi throughout this half, the AWP of Kaze has been really neutralized. Even the few times we've seen him have it, not a great amount of impact that has come out, especially compared to Inferno.
So final round here, Moses, and the pie, pretty scarce. Not looking great, couple for masses.
Tell you that round lineup that we see in the middle of our screen right now is not pretty for ViCi. Even the wins they've had have been diffuses. NiP, even in losses, have been finding success. They've been getting that bonus money as well. They haven't really had a whole lot of issues.
Can ViCi get a fifth? Zoking, aggressive position, could be called into action. He's gonna get one, but he was out of shadow. Kaze somehow, someway, plucks out a 2K with his FAMAS. Now Forrest spraying through the smoke wildly. He's not going to get anything done. They were playing for Dennis to try and wrap around through connector, but he realizes that Forrest needs help right now. And although Dennis has the AWP, this could get up close and personal because flashes and smokes are being exchanged between the teams. Forrest has had enough of it. He's going to go in with frags alongside Dennis. And now Kaze is the last to fall off the half, and NiP will have the 11-4 commanding lead.
Great performance from NiP. Forrest with 12, Get Right with 12, and that incredible clutch in the pistol that got him started. But Lekro showed up big, 18-6. ViCi staring down the barrel of elimination. We'll see if they can avoid it when we return.
In the clouds, and I'll take it, yeah. Reminding myself to just let go. Don't wonder how far I can fall. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look.
5 rounds is all that stands between the Ninjas and the next stage of IEM Katowice Major. ViCi facing elimination down 4-11, now moving to the offensive half. They got obliterated in the opening half of this game, just absolutely ran over.
And at the helm was Get Right. Meanwhile, ViCi, as you say, what should be the harder of the two sides. This should be an uphill climb, but one way of going up a few rungs of that ladder is if they can win this pistol round. And the flashes are beginning to get deployed. Lekro trying to trace across to the head of Zoking, does get that done, instantly traded out, and with his death, the bomb plant will follow. But NiP do have a kit in the hands of Get Right with a smoke.
Oh, I was about to say, how do you find your way back into this bomb site? Forrest finding you that frag into Allman before it even begins is a nice way to start things. They're waiting for Rez on the flank, and this could be huge if Kaze doesn't realize it. That should be the indication he needed. Rez takes a very sketchy shot, and here we go. Retake is on.
Rez not too far off, landing more damage. Forrest, in the meanwhile, has been put down to 3 health, but it's all going wrong for ViCi, and NiP will successfully retake once again. 12-4, a must-needed round for ViCi goes begging.
Smiles all around for NiP. That's both pistols in an elimination game. You cannot ask for much more. I don't know how ViCi comes back from this one. I don't think you can invest here if you're ViCi. You have to wait for the AK-47s, and you have to really rely on those. NiP getting a good start in both halves. There's the pistol god. He's back.
He was mortal for a little while, but seems to have regained what he once lost. Dennis, in the meanwhile, speaking of which, gonna break the deadlock here in round 17. Hell of a 1 dig, but it may just be a drop in the bucket because the bomb's gone out. Rez close range with the UMP. We know what this guy's capable of with the weapon.
You love to see that play from Rez. I mean, Dennis is gonna get 4 kills, phenomenal round, but Rez just backing into that corner, knowing Dennis has the cross. He's just luring them into Dennis's crosshairs. That's beautiful teamwork from Rez.
And with that teamwork, they now move to a 9-round lead. Just 3 shy of booking their spot in the next place. In the next group of the major.
This is the last chance for ViCi. If they don't win this, they just have to force buy every single round. Back to the B bomb site we go, much like the pistol round. 4 players in these halls. Lekro only has a UMP, so there's a chance. He spots everything. A little bit blind. There's the first kill. Allman goes down. Forrest is there to combine on Catwalk, even gets the dink. I don't know what they can do from here. 3-on-3, low HP on Advent, and Rez again with a fast flank. But Dennis is dropped. That might open things up.
A lot of this rests down to Rez. How much impact can he have from the apps? He's going to get the first, but needs to go on better. Kaze, 14 health. Now all on Rez's shoulders. He knows where Kaze is, but Kaze's going to get the better of him through the barrier. And in doing so, ViCi, they have bounced back.
Yeah, that's really nice from Kaze. Good hold of bench and spamming right through it to find all those connections. Couple low HP players thought Rez would have an easy cleanup. A nice flank on Catwalk as well. That was Forrest that went down, the one player that hung back. And ViCi going to call a timeout here. 3 remaining. They didn't use any in the first half, which, now that I think about it, is quite surprising.
Only 4 rounds, didn't use a single timeout. Yeah.
They're going to talk things over. I think they're going to get an easier time here as NiP, 3 players pretty hurt on cash flow. Only Dennis and Lekro with enough money for rifles, so NiP with such a big lead, no reason to risk too much and to do an awkward force buy.
And Lekro is really having a fantastic performance here. 20 kills, 112 ADR. You've had your moments from the likes of Get Right and Forrest, you know, the veterans, but fair play to Lekro, really stepping up.
Well, I think I was wrong. They are going to buy up NiP. They talk things over. It's a bit of a risk with the economy, but obviously they're playing so well at the moment. You can see they're just exuding confidence every time the camera pans on them. They've got a decent amount of utility, and I think Lekro with the AWP was maybe the real deciding factor.
But you did touch on this before. This is one way that ViCi can get back into the game by breaking down the economy of NiP. So this is quite a risk. They are going to be pushed from 3 separate angles, potentially 4 if this boost is successful.
Yeah, there's no one even close to having eyes on this. No one can even rotate into position to watch for this boost. Obviously, ViCi doesn't know that, but that player, if he jumps into window, he can flank towards the A-bomb site, he can go towards the murder hole, wrap around to A, wrap around to B. A lot of options to Allman when he eventually jumps in. Looking like A is the end goal. Bomb is on A ramp.
Forest, of course, opens it up with laser. Precision deagling. Gonna get taken down. Allman chips in with one of his own. And NiP have been put a player behind. Some chip damage has fired across, courtesy of grenades, but Freeman will finish off Reyes, and it seems this force buy is not going to be successful. At this stage, Lekro should save. He's got the AWP, he's got the big weapon. But he's not sure as to whether someone is on the rotation around the back of him, flanking, so he's going to eat that grenade down to just 41. It doesn't look likely he's going to be able to save this AWP at all.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. He hears those footsteps beneath him. There's the peak. I think they just spotted him as well. Never able to get involved in the action was Lekro. This is going to be tough. 3 different choke points yesterday. He's even ignoring Connector to his doom. Allman takes him out. AWP is passed over, and well, if you're ViCi, that's the best case scenario. A risky force buy for Ninjas. They still have a big lead that they can recover from this. But it gives ViCi a chance to build up some momentum, get some cash, close the gap, and actually start to apply a little bit of pressure to NiP.
So they didn't win the pistol, but they have been given a lifeline, courtesy of that force buy. They're going to have to make the most of it. In terms of this round, there is no investment at all from the Swedes. 4 USPs, 1 P2000.
It's important to note as well, with that kind of investment in the last round from NiP, that's not necessary. I mean, if they had won it, obviously, you know, it looks great. But all you've done is give ViCi a chance. This is going to be an easy mop up for Allman.
Money in the bank as well. Plenty of kills to his name, 3 in total. 13-7. Even this round, though, they can't get an AWP. I mean, we know that NiP aren't necessarily the team that have to play with an AWP. They're all capable riflers. But it does mean they're going to be a bit low in utility on a couple of these players as well. For example, it doesn't look like they're going to have a single Molotov.
Single kit.
Yeah, this is really rough. This is actually a great ticket back for ViCi.
Yeah. Here we go. A lot of players towards the B side of the map. 2 smokes being thrown in towards mid. Some spam through the smoke by Dennis. Molotov in towards Connector. It's really simulating a mid take, which has pulled Forest away from the B bomb site. That's a brilliant nade from Lekro, and here it comes again. They've ran the strat 3 times already, or this is the 3rd. We'll see if they can hold it. Low HP on one Force, misses the follow-up, almost taken down. Lekro's alone. He's got an easy kill as Allman doesn't check. An off angle inside the site, but so many different ways he's got to look, and he's somehow done it. Even fires at his teammate, but they hold on to the bomb site.
Couple of love taps across the Forest, but he's going to tank it, but Kaze will get the final blow into Lekro. With both of ViCi being in apps, it's so one-dimensional. It's hard to see this working out. They've got time, but they're not sure if one of NiP are rotating around the back of them.
They have the bomb as well. They could choose to fall back, but I think that's it. They don't know if there's someone close up. They don't want to risk it. They want to go straight up, and Get Ready's just spotted the barrel of Freeman. Let's Forrest take care of him.
Nice shot by Kaze, but he gets dinked in the process. 5 health separates him, and a 14th round for NiP.
Yeah, but Kaze is in the same position as Lekro in the previous round. It's going to be near impossible for him to get away with this weapon. And that's smart. Throws the AWP on the ground so NiP can't recover. He knows they're going to go for the hunt eventually. He knows he's basically just walking into his death. Great shot. Better response. Better positioning from NiP. and there's no op to be salvaged. So 14 rounds now for NiP.
Well played by Kaze at the end. Solid intellect, but it doesn't change the fact that his team is 7 rounds behind and just 2 shy of being knocked out.
This is such a tough round for Lekr. I'm amazed that he has that much success. Obviously, that kill by Force is a big help. Still, there was a lot of few moments in there where Lekr could have gone down with nothing. 14-7. 2 rounds away for making it into the new legend stage is NiP.
And they want to get their swinging all the way. Dennis aggression through mid. And he's pulling back now that smokes are starting to land. It's going to be Allman that actually claims the first kill on the round, breaking the deadlock onto the site. Been somewhat stalled though by counter nades. Now they're starting to pile out of Palace. Now they're going to start to make a move through ramp. But here comes Dennis. He's going for rotation. How long can the Ninja's Pajamas stall ViCi for Dennis to get into a good enough spot to strike?
I don't think they realize that the bomb is still on A ramp. They're actually they've used all their smokes. They can't block any more choke points off. They're waiting for Dennis to walk in. They've just paused. Dennis is going to walk right into this, and he has no idea. This is really interesting from ViCi. There's still a job to do because of the lack of utility. GetRight's got to be so careful, and we know he has incredible patience. Does he have enough to avoid the AWP? It's Zoking from above that grabs him, and now they can move into the site. They're confident now. Lekr with the win. Force with one as well, but Kaze is going to get aggressive. And Force goes down. That had to have felt awkward if you're one of the NiP players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like they were baiting in the rotation. They were waiting for it, and then they had the player advantage, and that's when they started to make their move. But there was this moment where you thought they're putting so much emphasis on getting that kill onto Dennis. If Dennis wins that trade, ViCi are absolutely screwed.
Yeah, that was curious. Obviously, it works out. But yeah, even if Dennis chooses not to go for that hard flank, even if he just waits in T-spawn, as they try and progress into the bomb site, they're going to be under some pressure from NiP, who can prevent the plant. 8-14 and another pretty hard reset. Small investment from the Ninjas, but they're going to have to save in the next round as well, I believe. There goes GetRight. They're going to have to save one more as the losing bonus builds up to allow them to get the rifles back, so ViCi can close the gap in this score. We're not done yet, Vince. It looked likely after the pistol round of this CT side went to NiP. But as we've seen throughout this entire week, ViCi continues to fight back.
Absolutely. Huge respect for the tenacity that they've shown time and time again. Always will keep pushing, always will keep going until the bitter end. And now, well, NiP are going to go for all nades, looking to bomb a particular area, see if they can get a couple kills off the back of it. 5
of the last 6 were won by ViCi. That 18th round is the force buy that NiP had that we were, questioning a little bit. That'll be a round that a lot of people point to. If NiP go on to lose this somehow, if ViCi make this comeback happen, that'll be a round that I think a lot of people point to.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Definitely was a scary one. Meanwhile, though, they're lining up for the grenades on ramp. No one's home. If they release the pins and toss them in, it's going to be for nothing. That's really their win condition. Meanwhile, ViCi are taking all the map control that they could need in mid. Smoking just outside the connector. Which is interesting, seeing as they've got 2 players in Palace. Going to wait behind that smoke and decide to push afterwards. Do NiP just try and stack their nades in connector? If they do, this could do some damage. It's going to be a little bit too deep to get any kills from, but does chunk Freeman down to 9. Actually, he's in Palace. It chunked Zoking down to 56.
Ooh, Forrest has got 1, but just too many bodies. Yeah, you could see the idea behind the nade stack, and you're right, that almost worked. If they were maybe a half second earlier at the bit when they were just entering connector, that could have been huge.
Lekr does have a deagle, could maybe do some damage on his way out, but yeah, this round is going to ViCi.
Just give us a nice highlight shot, Something real freaky with the deagle.
Huh? No.
All right. Thanks, Zoking. 10 to 14, ViCi crawling back into this. But we're going to get guns back out for the Swedish side.
And who would have thought we'd be at this stage when at one point it was 13-4 in NiP's favor. They won the second pistol. The round after that, it was looking like we'd have a quick third map, but here we are. Timeout from ViCi. Both teams going to have a solid full buy. Because of the state of the economy of NiP, we haven't seen that many full buys from them.
That's the real thing why that force buy on round 18 was just so confusing. You don't need to go for that. They could only pick up 2 rifles in the round. Now that they've lost it, it's just a series of half buys and then saving to get the guns out, and then they're reset again on round 21, or on round 22, excuse me, right after they win round 21. And then you just have this awkward cycle that favors ViCi, that favors this T side. At least this time with this kind of a buy, Forrest and Rez both have kits. They have the op on Dennis.
Trying the smoke spray, but not really going to be too much there. Orman forced back from the Molotov on B-App, so no control taken by ViCi. 2 players in connect-up. May get tested momentarily because just on the outside, Zoking, Advent, and Orman are making a move. And without anyone in window, they're going to be given free space to maybe go for some kind of a boost. What Zoking's doing right now, he's looking to try and boost over the smoke. The spray's good, and Get Right's been taken out. In the meanwhile, though, Get Right did take down Advent, who I believe was boosting Zoking. An even trade, spins around to Palace, damage done. What a shot that is into Zoking. And the bomb's been dropped as well. Rez goes in for a second. This passage of play is everything for NiP. A 2-on-4 now falls amongst ViCi, and with that bomb currently where it is, it's hard to see how they get this done.
What a great sequence from Rez. Obviously a little bit too over-eager as Zoking. He didn't start the round with the bomb. He might not have realized he picked it up. The player that Get Right killed had it initially, and I think to make that play, he might have just accidentally stepped over it, but that is certainly a huge disaster. Allman must do it all. He must do it with low HP, and Rez is going to get a triple kill to secure NiP a 15th round. They can no longer lose in regulation, and just one more to get NiP to the next stage of the major. Another timeout for ViCi.
I can see what they were going for, but it really was Rez that just shut things down, completely denying any kind of connector control. The good news, though, for ViCi is because they were on a 3-round winning streak, they are going to have more than enough money to get another full buy.
The bad news for ViCi is they haven't been able to take that B bomb site. That's where they lost the pistol round. That's where they lost that round 21. So, I mean, NiP realizes that. Probably feeling very confident in that B bomb site. That's why we see them taking mid, taking the A site. No more mistakes, though, for ViCi. Everything they do from here on has to work. Players are performing well. I mean, Allman has 20 kills. Freeman has 20 kills. The only player that's beating them is Lekro with 23, but they're beating all the other NiP players. So some solid individual performances. And here we go, back to the B site.
Allman aggression. Gonna get burnt, but chooses the bullets instead. Wise choice probably, but Lekro's gonna go in for a second, and this could be it. This is the beginning of the end, potentially. They have forced back the push. Advent and Kaze think better of it. Freeman is going to get an entry on A, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting and tentative for NiP.
No, I mean, this is the play right here. Get Right getting in a position to just be the insurance policy. It's so powerful to have a CP control A ramp. He'll have a fight. And now, not only is there the insurance policy of Get Right there, but Dennis is waiting at A ramp. If Get Right goes down, Dennis can spin easily. How fast are Get Right's reactions? They're coming from above. He's not ready. He swings up. He is traded, but Kaze has to go quick, and he's never going to expect this. There's an easy kill. There's a free kill. There's the bomb, and that might just be the deciding factor for NiP. 15-10, Advent in a 1-on-3.
Has 40 seconds to try and save the Asian team. First spray's not on point, and Lekro will get NiP to the next stage of the major. as they win 16-10.
It was close. A third map. Not a lot expected that, but you had inspired performances out of the two mainstays of this NiP roster. Get Right and Forest were both phenomenal in this series. Lekro stepped up on this third map when needed. Dennis stepped up on this third map when needed. And NiP is going to move on. A tough and grueling series, a tough and grueling challenger stage for the Ninjas. But they do survive. We've got the boys at the desk to talk us through it and what's next for the Ninjas.
Forced to play every single game to secure their spot in the Legends stage, but they do thrive. Every single map, of course, versus ViCi, Furia, Vega Squadron, and ViCi Gaming, the opponent's NiP best to secure a spot in the Legends stage. A lot of people are going to be saying that they haven't worked hard enough, and we'll be finding out exactly how hard they have to work in the stage following this one next week, of course. ViCi Gaming pushing them all the way. I'm joined by Pimp and Sean Garris to talk about it as the handshakes come in, Jacob. A moment of reflection on the series. What do you say about that one?
I think NiP played well. I think it was good to see Lekro finally coming alive. We talked about him in the pregame not having the best tournament so far. He's been a little bit absent. When you look at his counterpart on ViCi Gaming, Advent, he had a very poor series. Again, not pointing any fingers here, but he was simply not showing up to the same level as Lekro were. So overall, I think we got the best team going through, and I think NiP can be, for the first time in this tournament, they can be proud of what they showcased today. Yeah. By no means is ViCi a bad team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. NiP actually looked like a solid team throughout this series. They played well on Train. I thought personally they played really well on Inferno, and both pistols lost. They just couldn't get anything going. Here on Mirage, the economy was really tough to them, and that's why they couldn't really string together those rounds on CT side, but they've hunkered down and got those last two consecutive rounds to close out the game.
Yeah, we have replays, of course, of that game. We get to see some of those individual plays. Despite this being the series totals, I actually think that Lekro really redeemed himself over on this final map. I mean, he was exceptional. Admittedly, he was saving the day with some of his deagle frags the map prior, but I think this was exactly what the NiP boys ordered. It wasn't just Forest. Rez was there, but so was Lekro. You've been asking for that all week long.
He was posting 100 or 98 ADR throughout this game, and as an in-game leader for a team like NiP, where you need to micromanage a lot of these players, it's a very impressive scoreline to put up. That said, though, if we have to point fingers and have to look a little bit critical on NiP, Danish once again not having the best series overall. And when they go into the next stage and they're going to face teams like Astralis, they're going to face MIBR, Liquid, you need Dennis to show up much better than he has in this stage of the major.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to take away from Lekro's game, who obviously was the star player for NiP here, is the game he called as an in-game leader. I thought he did an excellent job mixing up the A and B hits. NiP didn't really have much success in mid, so they strayed away from that. But their bomb site hits were phenomenal throughout this game.
T-sides without mid-control work. I mean, I guess that's something for me to learn as well. But yes, I mean, we get to see the Ninjas in Pajamas, that very convincing T-side, kind of locked them in for the eventuality that was the second half. Of course, winning pistol rounds when Dennis is hitting his USP shots is always a little extra bonus as well on those retakes. But as we take a moment now, we're going to review another team biting the dust. Now, Team Spirit, Greyhound, Furia, Vega, Fnatic, and now we wave goodbye to another one in the form of ViCi Gaming. I feel like we've learned an awful lot about them. I'll be talking all about it with these guys, but first, we do have an opportunity to speak to often the man who wears his heart most commonly on his sleeve, Get Right, who secured a spot in the next stage of competition.
Last time I spoke to this gentleman, Get Right, there were mixed emotions, but how are the emotions now? They're out the window.
I don't really have words, to be honest. I'm just happy we're through. Yeah, I don't know.
The thing that we were all saying, though, upstairs is this is the return of old school Get Right. How did you bring him back to that server?
I don't know. I'm very sorry that I was the worst one to pick out for interview, but I'm too worse.
Hang on
no
a second. Hang on. This is going out the window. Let me drop this. You were not the worst one to be in the interview. I'm so excited to talk to you because you turned it out when it mattered most, right? This was the game that you had to be the best you could be, and today you were Get Right.
Well, yeah. I feel happy. For me, it doesn't really matter if I kill a lot of people or something like that. I just care if I get around or make something like an ego boost to the other teammates or something like that. So I've after the pistol round burst, which was ridiculous.
On 8 HP.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I felt that Forest got even more pumped up and Lecro showed up even more big time as T. So I'm just super happy to get back into the next stage. And now we just have to go a little bit extra. But me personally, I have to go back and play more because I'm not satisfied personally, but I'm happy that we won. And that's the most important thing. And if we win, then I'm more happy than ever because I don't care about like my individual in the end, because if we win, then I'm going to be the most happiest person in the world. So I'm very happy right now.
I know you've got tons of fans in Poland who can't wait to see you playing in Legends next week. So, guys, you've got so much to look forward to from NiP. Let's head back to the desk.
Yes, it's a great point as well Frankie's making. There is going to be a crowd for the next stage of competition, then the big one, of course, for the champion stage following that one. Get right unsatisfied with his own performance. I'm just going to throw that little nugget into the lion's den before we take our break. Jacob, I mean, he's no stranger to being self-critical, and I think NiP do have a lot to reflect on. If you were in the NiP camp, what advice are you two going to be giving and focusing on with your time off before this stage and the next?
I mean, seeing them play yesterday and see the frustration coming out of them when they were getting into pressured situations was definitely part of the problem I felt for NiP. The composure right now of the team is definitely not where they want to be. That said, though, I don't feel Get Right has to be the player he's known to be. I think he's moved into another role in this team. Yes. He's taking a lot of that experience he has, and he doesn't make any mistakes. He's not a liability for them by any means. I feel if anyone, it has to be Dennis who needs to step it up a notch for NiP to be competitive against the Faces and the Astralis.
Yeah, he actually had a 1.13 rating throughout this series. He played a really good game, and that pistol round was very crucial.
More bursting Glocks.
Yes, that was insane.
What happened here? I mean, maybe we're going to be seeing more from it in the next stages. They know something we don't. All I know is we're going to be taking a break. But when we do come back, there is more Counter-Strike to be had. G2 taking on Tyloo. Winner stays on. Join us after the break.